Hey guys, Dr. Rob here today, and we're going to talk about 10 factors that cause adrenal fatigue. Now, the first thing I want to say on this is, from what I've seen, adrenal fatigue is never a primary problem, meaning there's almost always something going on in the body that's causing it, and 80% of the time, I feel that problem is physical in nature. It's not mental or emotional or stress related. The focal point should not be to treat the adrenal glands with herbs, with bioidentical hormones and things like that, although you can support them. The goal has to be to identify the underlying cause of why the adrenal glands have fatigued in the first place. And here are 10 reasons why they do. Now, there's probably over 100, although I've never counted, but here's 10. The first one is an H. pylori infection. Now, if you've never heard of H. pylori, it's a spiral-shaped bacteria that screws into the lining of the stomach. For half of the population, it will cause symptoms such as heartburn, indigestion, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, stomach ulcers, peptic ulcers. It can also cause odd symptoms like insomnia, fatigue, foul breath. Here's the crazy thing with H. pylori. About 50% of the population has no idea they have it because they have no symptoms. Regardless, H. pylori is going to produce some degree of inflammation in everyone's gut or in everyone's body. And the reason why that's a problem is because the adrenal glands are the anti-inflammatory glands of the body, which means they have to work really hard to deal with the H. pylori infection. Number 2 are going to be phthalates, BPAs, and other environmental toxins. Now, a phthalate is a compound that is put in plastics to make it more flexible. These are also used in air fresheners. And essentially, they are endocrine disruptors. They're toxins for the body. They add inflammation to the system. Same with BPAs. They also interfere with the function of the endocrine system. You'll find this sometimes in cans and in other food sources. So the issue with these guys is they interfere with the function of the endocrine system, and that causes a domino effect which can directly influence the adrenal glands and contribute to adrenal fatigue. So a person needs to test themselves to identify if they have these in their body, and if they do, they got to handle it. So number 3 is going to be problems with yeast, and number 4 would be problems with mold, and we're going to group these things together. And the reason why is, like yeast and mold, they produce certain compounds. Like mold, for example, they produce mycotoxins. Mycotoxins get released into the bloodstream, and they increase inflammation in the body, again, directly affecting our anti-inflammatory hormones made by the adrenal glands. Number 5 is going to be food sensitivities. Now, most food sensitivities are going to be connected directly with leaky gut, but regardless, the food sensitivity itself has to be addressed. And here's the reason why. Your immune system gets its fuel in part from your adrenal glands. When you eat a food you're sensitive to, the immune system has to get very active to fight off the food that you're sensitive to. And again, it's pulling energy from your adrenal glands. That over time will fatigue the adrenal glands if the immune system is constantly dealing with a food that you're being exposed to that you don't need to be exposed to. Now, the next one is going to be heavy metal toxicity. So here's the problem. There was a study that was done on rats, and it showed mercury, cobalt, cadmium, and copper, when deposited into the adrenal glands, had a negative effect on the gland's ability to function. So here's the deal. If you've been exposed to mercury through dental amalgams or through eating too much sushi or other sources, or you've been exposed to copper through excess dietary consumption or copper pipes and these other things, essentially, if you've been exposed to heavy metals, the heavy metals have the potential to literally deposit into your adrenal tissue and interfere with that gland's ability to function. Over time, that's going to fatigue the gland and just make you feel horrible. So the next one are parasites. Now, parasites, I just had a patient, for example, the other day we did a stool study on, and she had roundworms. We found amoebas. We found all different types of things in a patient's stool. The key, though, is if you have parasites, you need to either see your medical doctor or do something to address them, because these parasites do a couple different things that will kill your adrenals. One, they create inflammation. 2, they interfere with your ability to absorb nutrients, right? They compete with your nutrients. And 3, they create a dysbiotic gut. They cause the kill off the good bacteria or create an environment where it's hard for the good bacteria to survive, and which leads to bad bacterial overgrowth, right? So we can get into SIBO and things like that. So it's really important to identify what's going on in your GI tract. I'd say that's probably the most important thing when you want to handle adrenal fatigue, is identify what is wrong in your GI tract, because so often, at least 50% of the times, or 40, 50% of the time, it is stemming directly from the gut. Number 8 is going to be unresolved pain and inflammation. Obviously, if there's a part of your body that's hurt or injured, you got to get it fixed. See a chiropractor, see an acupuncturist, see a massage therapist, because that is going to be a chronic source of inflammation, and we know what inflammation does to the adrenal glands. It's not good. Leaky gut. Although leaky gut may be caused by parasites, by yeast, by bacteria, and some of the other things that we've talked about, leaky gut in and of itself still needs to be addressed, meaning after a person handles their parasite or yeast or H. pylori or whatever it is, you still got to take the steps to repair the leaky gut if you're going to heal the adrenal fatigue. And the reason why is, 1, leaky gut is an inflamed gut, which stresses the adrenals. 2, leaky gut is constantly putting toxins into the bloodstream, into the lymphatic system, which is always raising the inflammatory levels of the body. The adrenal glands, again, are the anti-inflammatory glands of the body, so they got to work overtime to deal with that inflammation. Eventually, they become fatigued, and zhunk, so do you. And number 10 is going to be nutritional deficiencies, particularly deficiencies in the vitamin C complex. Now, I'm not talking about just ascorbic acid that you would get from your multivitamin or something like that. I'm talking about the vitamin C complex. This is vitamins P, vitamins J, and ascorbic acid. These are the bioflavonoids that you find in certain fruits and vegetables. It's this complex that work together in the body, and when they do, they have a synergistic, a positive effect on the adrenals. They really help the adrenals to do their job. Also, B vitamins are important, but those are more rare to find deficiencies in. The big thing that I've seen is the vitamin C complex, not the ascorbic acid, but the complex. So these are 10 causes, and like I said, there's probably hundreds. I've never counted, but I guesstimate, honestly, probably at least 100 or so potential causes to adrenal fatigue. So I hope you enjoyed this information. And look, if you're out there and you're thinking, I got adrenal fatigue, I want some help, please reach out to me. I've been in practice for, it's going to be 22 years, I think, coming up in June. And we've worked with over 15,000 patients and clients from 43 other U.S. states and 23 countries. So if there's a problem that you have, I would love for you to reach out to me. Go to my website. I'm going to put a link right down here to my free adrenal damage test. This is a test that I created online that you take, and it's a survey type quest that helps us get information as to how beat up your adrenal glands really are. You know, on a scale from 1 to 10, are you a 2 or a 3? Not that bad. Or are you a 10? Run to the doctor right now. Go get yourself some bioflavonoids and a heavy metal detox. You know, where are you on the spectrum? So that's what this particular adrenal damage test does, is it helps us understand more about where you are and potentially what the underlying cause of your adrenal fatigue may be. So again, I'm going to put a link right down here. Go fill that out. I would love the opportunity to help you. And we'll also, if you want, we'll also give you a free consultation with either our naturopath or a certified health coach to cover all the results of that test with you. Okay? So it's been great seeing you today. Thank you very much for being here, and I will catch you at the next whiteboard session. Bye.